We have all our panelists here. We have Noah Jacobson, which is our CCO. Unfortunately, our CEO didn't make it, but we have a great leader of our company here as well. We have Mark Zahar, who's our VP of Sales, and Kevin Yamano, our VP of Marketing. And lastly, myself, Aideen Lahiji, head of partnerships in the affiliate space and head of growth and revenue. So I will let Noah kick things off with our TapClicks Vision. And if you want to give maybe a 10-second background on yourself, Noah, that'd be awesome as well.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Aideen. Really excited to be here. Thanks everybody for joining. Aideen, Kevin, thank you for making this happen. I'll say I've been a founder, co-founder of the company, been with the company since the very, very beginning. And I will say that days like this are really exciting because these are the days that we've looked forward to. We dreamed of early in our creation of TapClicks and the development of our platform that we would get to have a day like this, where we bring in a whole lot of other visionaries, owners, drivers, experts in the industry that are looking for the right solutions and the right technology and to get those into the right people's hands. And so the idea of partner programs like this are key to our growth, our development. But to get to them, you have to have a really strong platform, a strong company, and have done a lot more or ahead of time to get to this point. So a little bit of background on myself. As I said, kind of co-founder, been with the company since the very beginning. Our CEO had founded a company and I joined up with him. We made a pivot and 12 years later, we have what we have today, which is TapClicks. True story, kind of out of Silicon Valley, building a technology company. We really kind of set out as entrepreneurs to solve some, big marketing problems. We were brought into it, really focused on media companies to start, which quickly turned into all agencies as media companies really becoming digital, all-inclusive, omni-channel agencies. We saw the opportunity to take what we had built kind of with some media companies and really expand that out to all agencies. I myself, as Chief Commercial Officer, been played a lot of different roles in the company, as you can tell or you can imagine. We, early on, there were only about 3 to 4 of us. And then that's evolved into who we are today, close to 150 people or so, all over the world. We've got offices in Boston, Denver, Nashville, Montreal. Really exciting. Even on this list here, panel, you got myself, I'm here in the Bay Area. You've got Mark, who's been with us for a very, very long time, very instrumental in our growth and expansion beyond just media. So taking us into agencies and brands. And then we've got, I think, Mark, you're out in Boston today. You're not traveling. Kevin's out in LA, and I think Aideen, you're down in LA as well. So even the panel itself is pretty spread out. So back to my primary focus here, which is, our vision for TapClicks really was to become that centralized place for marketers, a platform for marketers, and we like to say by marketers. When we first got into the space, we saw that this omni-channel problem, and I'll hit that in a second here, but was a big one as they're adding more and more channels, more and more products, more and more solutions out there, really was creating havoc for your everyday marketer. In addition, technology, as we all know, can be pretty complicated. And so our focus was to build a platform that brought everything together for marketers, by marketers, to make it much easier. So the user interface, the accessibility of the products that we built, all of that was a really big focus from us from day one. I'm happy to say, and here's our slide here. I'm happy to say that we are about 2,000 clients now. So that's over the last 12 years. We've grown quite a bit. And we focus on clients, everybody from kind of your mom and pop, kind of small SMB, all the way up to some of the largest agencies and media companies in the world and the biggest brands. We service over 350,000 advertisers that's associated with those 2,000 plus clients. And, we really pride ourselves on how much revenue is being tracked is a good way to kind of gauge how much and how many advertisers are leveraging our platform. So the growth of our platform is big. The number of products, and Mark's going to hit on those in a bit here. But we've had quite a few acquisitions, some that you've heard of around Raven Tools, as well as iEspionage. These are some other product lines of ours that we're excited to launch into the program. In addition, some of the areas here, we've got 250 plus native connectors in our platform. We've got our orders and workflow, our reporting and analytics platform. These are really what make up the TapClicks solutions, both kind of as a holistic platform, but also capably being purchased one-off, modularized, or on a product-by-product basis. So really excited to bring those to you. The problem that it really exists in the industry that we went after was the fragmentation. As we all know, there's I think there's actually close to 8,000 plus today. You got to constantly update these slides because there's so many different products, so many different solutions out in the market today. That makes it really difficult, not only to choose the right solutions, but when any marketer or anybody running a business is out there looking for solutions, not only once they've made those choices, but how do they actually operate all of those different platforms? How do they run them? How do they optimize across them? And then on the back end of them all, how do they actually understand what they're doing, how they're working, what kind of performance they're getting, and how do they bring that all together into a single unified environment? And so they need a centralized operation platform to do that. They also need to make sure they're picking the right solutions that can all work together to achieve their ultimate goals around marketing and sales. The TapClicks platform really was designed to do just that. We started kind of on more of a point solution, really focused on solving a reporting need that came with all these different platforms. But we designed that from day one to be scalable, to be future-proof, and to help customers evolve from, even if they weren't enterprise, that they were getting enterprise-level software. That point solution around reporting evolved over time. We really focused on bringing the data in, then giving more tools to report that in different ways, report on that data in different ways. And then we brought in our analytics platform, allowing you to analyze that data, really understand it, and make better decisions around that. With that came some acquisitions of additional products like Raven Tools, which is a brilliant reporting and PPC management platform, as well as iEspionage that allows you to do more analytics and competitive analysis around PPC and SEO. We added the orders and workflow components to our platform to help you with the actual operations. So we moved from just the idea of reporting and analyzing data to how can we help you actually execute campaigns across all these different platforms? How do we intake those orders that come in, whether they're from internal constituents, people that are looking to run campaigns, or if you're in a big agency, large media company, you've got lots of sellers, lots of different people in the industry that are pushing orders into you. And then workflows, how do you get those executed? What does that take to do? It's a really comprehensive platform. We've got over 250 plus integrations to pull data in, to push data out of it, to consolidate all of that information. We are managing that in a massive data warehouse that we manage on behalf of clients. We have all sorts of capabilities within it around not only just, like I said, capturing orders, executing on them, reporting out data through the platform, whether that be in PDF form, a Word doc, any form that you want to communicate out. And then on the data, the raw data itself, we also have a number of products where you can actually push the data itself into third-party platforms. So lots of capabilities at reasonable costs and very low risk, meaning we take care of not only the technology, but we have a lot of services that we can offer behind it. This slide here is just kind of to give you an idea. As you look at the products and you learn more about what we have to offer, how we package it up, this gives you a little idea of the way we look at the industry. We look and the way we look at our customers and the market. So we look at very different. Because we deal with SMB all the way to your enterprise clients, we really are dealing with different levels of sophistication. And as that sophistication grows, you also have different levels of value in what they're trying to achieve, as well as what their budgets are. And so as we looked at the market, we looked at different providers that provide some of the solutions we have. Our goal was always to kind of start and let somebody come into our platform, get started with us with our basic reporting capabilities. And we see that evolution of their business to grow into as they get more sophisticated, they're going to be looking for more capabilities. So in one single platform, you get everything from kind of basic reporting for your mom and pop shop. They're just trying to understand maybe some basic social PPC performance campaigns. And as they get more sophisticated and start looking at that data, analyzing it, needing more access to more data, we can drop in our analytics platform more. And then as they move all the way up to the right in their sophistication levels, they're moving into how do we do better with our operations? How do we optimize? And so it's really that scalability of power, as we call it, moving from kind of your basic solutions, your lower cost, all the way into more sophisticated and enterprise level solutions. So we're really excited about the platform that you're going to see today, what we've developed over the last few years. It's been a dream of ours to bring that to market. And we've been seeing huge success, both selling individual products as well as the platform holistically. And we're really excited to have you all helping us take that to market and get us to the next level. Look forward to the partnership, and I'll hand it off, I believe, to Mark.
Thanks, Noah. Appreciate that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mark Sahar. I'm the head of strategic sales here at TapClicks. I am in beautiful Boston, and for you baseball fans, I do have Fenway Park in my background, which is a beautiful place. There is a lot of East Coast, West Coast kind of rivalries between people on the panel, and so I'm excited to be here. I do hope at some point we can kind of see each other face to face and maybe answer some questions, but I'm really looking forward to share a little bit about how TapClicks supports our partners. I've been at TapClicks now almost 7 years, so not as long as Noah. Have a media and technology background, and I've been in situations where we're always looking to utilize technology to solve business problems. And so what I'd love to do today is share a little bit more about who we are, the kind of customers that we work with, and the problems that we're solving. And so what Kevin is kind of showing you, or what our team is showing you today, is this is kind of an overview of our kind of marketing operations platform. Really what you're looking at, to Noah's point, is our ability to kind of what I call manage the ad order life cycle. And so in order to deal with the ad order life cycle, you need to kind of set up and manage campaigns, you need to launch those campaigns, and you need to analyze those campaigns. And to do that takes an infrastructure that allows you to not only understand each piece of the supply chain, but make sure that those pieces in the supply chain are talking to each other, and then ultimately be able to automate, optimize, and analyze those results. So that is what TapClicks offers today, amongst other products. But I'd like to start just a little bit before we kind of go deep and wide into the products, is talk a little bit about some of the customers and kind of how we work with them. And so it's not uncommon for a lot of our customers or somebody to come in that say things to Noah's point, which is we have all these data sets. We really need the ability to kind of bring in this data, standardize it, and kind of create a report, right? And so a lot of you folks today might be in that situation when you're trying to get your arms around these data sets and the fact that you can aggregate them and make sense of them. The reality is a lot of people are doing that on a manual basis, which is taking a lot of time. But before we go into that, the other challenges around the business and some of the economic issues, everybody that we're seeing is dealing with some staffing challenges. And so what we're seeing is people at the agency, as an example, people in that organization are leaving, they're going to different places. And so when the reality is when that happens, it puts strain on the entire organization, number one. And so the reality is you don't just lose that employee, but you lose the knowledge that they've acquired, which you could say at times is even more costly. And as a result, you have people leaving, which means other people have to pick up the slack. And so when you have the current teams that are picking up the slack, some of those might already be at maximum capacity, if you will. And when they're maxed, they're just trying to complete the task, right? And so they might not be putting their entire self into the output that they're producing on behalf of the client. The other things that we're seeing, and I think Noah talked about it a little bit, is kind of the infrastructure. The reality is a lot of our partners, they might not be big enough to afford an entire IT staff or specialty roles such as, IT/data analytics or data scientists and or the infrastructure to support the kind of environment that they want to create. And so ultimately, if you're lacking the people, you're lacking the infrastructure, you're lacking the specialists, it's really hard as an agency to compete, because the reality is the competition in the agency world is fierce. There are a lot of agencies that are trying to separate themselves from the pack. And how do they continue to kind of separate and demonstrate their value to their clients month over month? I'm sure you all understand that you're only as good, unfortunately, as your last month. And so without the ability to kind of aggregate and demonstrate the value to a client over time, sometimes leaves you somewhat vulnerable. The reality is from a lot of our partners that they're trying to figure out how to survive, not necessarily how to improve. And so through what we're providing here at TapClicks is giving you the ability to kind of bring this infrastructure to your business. So let's talk a little bit more about TapClicks and how we help our partners. What Kevin is showing, and I keep talking about Kevin, but what we're showing right now, is really the infrastructure. And this is kind of the end-to-end that Noah was talking about. But more importantly, what makes TapClicks unique is not only our infrastructure, but I would say it's more about our people, our process, and technology. And so when you look at our infrastructure, we at TapClicks have specialists around data solutions, product development, customer engineering, implementation, customer success, strategy, technology, and professional services. So really, we are the agency behind the agency, helping our partners bring strategic solutions to the market. Okay, so getting back to what are you looking at here? Okay, this is our infrastructure. And you'll see on the left-hand side, there are inputs, there's processing and outputs. The reality here, though, if you look at what we're showing, it's kind of like, I like to call it the iceberg. And so what you're looking at here is really the tip of the iceberg. And if you can picture an iceberg, you've got an ice cap above the water, and then you have this huge mammoth iceberg below the water line. And really, the reality here is for us to execute on all of the things that we do, there are a lot of things that you can't see. There's a lot around infrastructure. There's a lot around applications and database and all the technology that requires to run all of these pieces, right? So at TapClicks, we're not only giving you kind of our, intelligence and our technology, but we're giving you the infrastructure and supporting you along your journey. Now, before we go into this, a lot of times when we work with clients, we first talk about strategy. And so what information, not necessarily data, do you want to provide both internally, kind of your business level KPIs, and externally to your clients that will help you demonstrate the value of your contributions? Those might be in the form of, again, campaign metrics, could be things like impressions, leads, response rates. It could be kind of the overall ROI or ROAS, right? So return on investment, kind of the leads to revenue, leads to cash you guys might be talking about. How do I want to do some comparisons? How do I might want to look at certain, channels like maybe search or social, like Google, Facebook as an example. It might be print. Some of you might be doing direct mail, magazines, what have you. And then, there's certain benchmarks or insights that we want to provide. Maybe we want to look at things around industry. Maybe we want to look at some of our client types. How does home services do against healthcare, which goes against maybe retail or B2B? And how does this compare around geography? And so when you look at kind of the problems or the solutions that we're trying to solve and answer, it's all about what does that end result look like, okay? So getting back to the infrastructure, starting on the left-hand side, we have lots of ways to bring data into what we call the platform. And so you'll see a couple different buckets here, but we have what we call this instant on, which are our native APIs and our ability to kind of bring in data through our technology. And then that might be search, social, programmatic, all data sets. So it's kind of, you point, you click, you authenticate, you're in. We also have the ability to bring in custom data sets, and that's our proprietary, what we call smart connector technology on the bottom of the left-hand side. What that means is we can integrate almost any data set. And the reason why that's important is, yes, we deal with marketing data. And when I started TapClicks 7 years ago, the main reason that I joined was in the organization's ability to bring in lots of data. The reality is data is messy, it's hard, and to bring that in and organize it in a way that makes sense is challenging. And so by bringing in what I call not just instant on or kind of the top level instant on data sets, but their smart connector, we're able to help our clients, more importantly, talk about what I call the full funnel. And so we see no longer is it important enough just to talk about kind of the top of the funnel, which is kind of the demand generation. Our clients want to see kind of the top, the entire funnel, right? And so that might be things like marketing demand, it might be customer engagement, and it might be success. So again, when we're as marketers, we think of how are we driving the interest at the top of the funnel? How are we driving greater engagement to that funnel? And then ultimately, what is that customer doing, right? So are they engaging with us somehow? Are they downloading white paper? Are they looking at a newsletter? Do they go in store or visit a property or whatever? And so what we're seeing now is really kind of fast forward over the years, your clients, so we're supporting you, your clients are expecting greater insight into top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. And so our ability to bring in marketing data sets, maybe CRM data sets, sales convergence data sets, CMS data sets, all data sets kind of allow you to tell that customized story. Now, once we get that data, you'll see it kind of forms into the next part, which is really this automated marketing data environment. And so now what we're bringing in all this data, we have the technology that allows you to kind of integrate it and transform it, number one. Number two, maybe you want to start to blend the data. And so when we talk about data blending, for some of you that might be bringing in, I'm just going to use the example, Google plus Facebook plus direct mail plus phone calls. How do you want to work with that data? Do you want to leave it at the end result, or do you want to blend it? And so you want to share that information with your client about impressions. And so when you go back to the funnel, the top of the funnel might be engagement, and that might be all of those engagements. So again, our goal is to continue to demonstrate our value to the customer. So the first part is kind of driving them top of the funnel. The next part is, how do you want to work with the data? So we have a data workbench that allows you to do lots of things with the data. Again, data is messy. It's not clean. And so we were just talking to folks earlier today within our kind of custom calculations environment. I'm able to do several things, right? I'm able to look at the data and maybe dissect or pull out specific data points. And so maybe within the data string, I'm looking for search in one field. Another field, I might be looking for level of engagement. So I'm able to take not only pieces of the data and start to work with that data, but now I'm starting to ultimately create custom metrics that's going to allow you to tell your story. The quickest way around that could be, I have my engagement levels, I have my phone calls, and maybe you want to create a basic cost per call metric. So again, you know what you spent on your marketing, you know what they did, what the kind of the event was, a phone call, and I want to create a metric around that. So that's just one way of how you can not only take the data, transform it, and use it for marketing, right? But the benefit, again, I'm all about helping our partners separate or differentiate themselves. Another example could be, because the reality is you're an agency doing search and Noah's an agency doing search. And I believe that if we both have the same business plan, we sit right next to each other in a mall, if you will, or have our own office. The way you execute is what's going to separate you. And so another way, as an example, using our custom kind of calculations feature, right? How do I differentiate? Well, let's just say I communicate. It's really important for my customer to understand, again, how many people saw my offer or my ad, and how does that compare? What's important? So let's just say within our calculations feature, we have the ability to not only look at all of those inputs. So say we have impressions of 1 million, and then we know based on the geo, there's about 3 million people in that area. Well, maybe we create some sort of propensity score. Maybe we make it my agency. So Mark's agency propensity score that allows me to separate, to say, here's the impression threshold that we were able to do on behalf of your brand. So when you start to say, how you looking at all this information, it's not only how you bring in all this data, but what you do with that data. And more importantly, how do you continue to put this intelligence in front of your customer? Because that's ultimately what they care about. And the value of all the things that we're doing, and Noah talked a little bit about the infrastructure. And in that data management platform, what makes that unique is there's a database behind that. And so all of the information that we're tracking, storing, capturing, we can now analyze. And so by analyzing that data, again, I might look at insights, I might look at benchmarks. Some of those might be for my agency, some might be for my customer, but it allows you to track and store and evaluate trends over time. Okay. One quick kind of story. I was working with one of our clients. They focus in the small business industry, and they were working with a data or an auto salvage company. And they were in a position where they were going to potentially lose the account to another agency. That agency worked with 2 or 3 agencies. Maybe that's similar to your situation. And by working with TapClicks, they were able to share their clients what they did from a top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, not just for this month or last month, but for quarter over the last year. And the reality is, and I don't know about you, maybe I know what I did this month. I might have a chance of knowing what I did last month, but everything other than that is a blur. And so by working within our platform, not only was I able to help our partner save the customer, reduce churn, but more importantly, they were able to get more budget away from the others. So they not only did they not lose it, but they gained more budget. And so in their client's eye, they were that much more sophisticated. Okay. So again, are able to bring lots of data in, transform it, enhance it. Now, what do we want to do with it? And so now you're looking at kind of what we call the data storytelling, which is how do we help you tell your story, and what we call storytelling. And so the reality is, now that we have all of this data, we want to think about maybe my client, what's going to be important to them? How do I create the story, either again, based on what's important to them, maybe things that we've put together, and more importantly, how do I want to share it? So at TapClicks, we give you a tremendous amount of options. I can share that data in maybe a PDF or maybe Excel dashboard, Excel document, sorry, or a dashboard. So several ways in which we're supplying the information. And then more importantly, how often do you want to share it? And so with not only do we have the ability to transform data into marketing intelligence, but we can automate this entire process end to end. And the reason why that's important is we now allow your marketing team or the client's marketing team to focus more on strategy and less on the pieces. And so the more we can help the team focus on strategy, drive more throughput, drive more engagement, and helping you tell a better story, the TapClicks platform does everything else on your behalf. So now with the platform, we can share the right story with the right individual. So you, at a client level, you could have client dashboards, they log right in and see only that data. So again, it's all about that data transformation via that end-to-end process. Now, what's unique is this platform allows you to take control over this end-to-end process via our very easy and I would say intuitive UI. So again, to Noah's point, our platform has been built by marketers for marketers. You can do some very strategic things without the involvement of programming, IT, or data scientists. You're in control. And then ultimately, once you have all this information, you've transformed it, you're sharing it, we have what we call our Report Studio capability. What Report Studio allows you to do is create these really powerful presentations that jump off the page. Think PowerPoint that intersects with technology. And so by utilizing this kind of environment within TapClicks, we allow you to not only create these presentations that jump off the page, but you can use our platform to share them to present right from the environment. The reason why that's important, in my opinion, is now you're letting the data speak on behalf of the client. You're not trying to sell them. The data is selling them. Now you and your function can act as that strategic advisor, which is ultimately what the client is wanting to do. So again, now that you have all this information organized, stored, and maintained in the system, you can easily post all of those results to any particular type of output. And then lastly, since we have all this information, we have tools that allow you to take all of this kind of aggregated data and easily push it to either other systems or something as easy as a Google Sheet by point and click. And so I truly believe at TapClicks, we have the people, the process, and the technology to help our clients drive greater innovation, customer success, and ultimately ongoing value to our partners that is going to help them drive more revenue, differentiate in market, and reduce churn. And so again, I'm happy at whatever point, I'd be happy to talk to folks individually to talk about exactly all of these examples. But if you're an agency or partner that is looking to transform your entire supply chain, we can do that with one login and a dedicated team at folks at TapClicks behind you. I appreciate the ability to connect with you all.
Thank you so much, Mark, and Noah as well. So at this point, we're kind of halfway through. Appreciate you all listening in here. So I guess we'll take a quick 5-minute break. And just a reminder, our chat is off, but Q&A is open. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop in there and we'll get those answered to you as well. So we'll take a quick breather, be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.